Did you ever hear that Earth used to have these crazy big predators? Like, we're talking huge. They were so big that the animals we see now would look like tiny toys next to them. Picture giant snakes and massive sea monsters just chilling on Earth. Crazy, right? This video is about ancient monsters and what would happen if they were still around today. Come with us on a journey to meet some ancient creatures: Titanoboa, the supersized snake over 40 feet long, and Kronosaurus, a giant sea predator weighing up to 12 tons. We're going to dive into what their homes were like, how they chowed down on food. Prepare to be amazed as we enter a world where these prehistoric monsters shared the planet with us. Now don't go anywhere, because by the end of this, you'll find out how these gigantic creatures could change the way our world works today. It's time to go on a wild ride, imagining how they could mess with our ecosystems, everyday lives, and more. It will make you think about how we deal with these ancient monsters if they were still around today. Stay with us for this exciting adventure into the land of ancient giants. Description of Titanoboa. Imagine this massive snake, the Titanoboa, that lived around 58 million years ago. It was a giant, stretching an incredible 43 feet long and weighing over a ton. To put that in perspective, it was even longer than 2 giraffes lined up end to end. And not just long, it was super wide too, about 3 feet across, which helped it catch its prey. This ancient snake was a real heavyweight. The Titanoboa, living in the ancient swamps and rivers of South America, was a fearsome predator. It mainly went after fish, but it didn't stop there. Sometimes it even tackled crocodiles in its hunt for food. Now, Titanoboa's way of hunting was as impressive as scary. It would surprise its prey, coil around them tightly, and squeeze until they couldn't breathe. Then it would just gulp them down whole. This snake's grip was so firm that once it caught something, there was almost no chance of escape. The Titanoboa shook the whole balance of the prehistoric ecosystem. It became a top predator, and its presence made all the other creatures both amazed and terrified. Description of Kronosaurus. Now let's dive into the ocean, where the Kronosaurus, a gigantic sea creature, reigned supreme more than 90 million years ago. This prehistoric marine beast was like a supersized version of today's crocodiles or killer whales. It stretched over 33 feet long and could tip the scales at a jaw-dropping 12 tons. One of its most striking features was its massive mouth filled with sharp teeth, which made it a fearsome predator of the ancient seas. Imagine coming across this colossal sea creature while swimming. It's like something out of a thrilling adventure story. Kronosaurus was like a swimming champion of its time. With its solid flippers and sturdy ribcage, it could glide through the ancient seas with incredible speed and agility. Regarding hunting, Kronosaurus was all about the element of surprise. It would lurk in the depths of the water, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Once it did, those sharp teeth would make quick work of tearing through the prey's flesh. It didn't matter if you were a marine mammal or a smaller sea critter. Once Kronosaurus set its sights on you, escape was pretty much impossible. Kronosaurus was like the top boss of the ancient oceans. When it showed up, other sea creatures knew to be scared. Its arrival shook up the way things worked in the old days, and it changed the whole marine world. But it also reminds us how incredible and fascinating the creatures of the past were, and how they left their mark on Earth's history. Hypothetical scenario. If Titanoboa and Kronosaurus were suddenly here with us today, it would be a big deal. These massive creatures would cause a lot of changes in the environment. They'd mess with the way animals and plants interact, and it could create a lot of challenges for both nature and us humans. It's like a big twist in the story of our world. If Titanoboa came back to life and slithered through our modern rainforests, things would get pretty crazy. Picture this giant snake as a movie monster. It would freak out a lot of animals. Small critters would run away to new places, which could mess up the average balance of the jungle. Some animals could have too many predators, and others might not have enough food. Plus, Titanoboa eating fish and maybe some land animals would mess up the whole ecosystem. If Kronosaurus showed up in our oceans today, there would be a lot of problems. This massive sea predator would eat many marine mammals, which could mess up how the ocean works. It might even make things challenging for humans who rely on fishing for a living. Plus, if it hunted whales, it could change how our oceans take in carbon. and that's a big deal for our planet's climate. So Kronosaurus showing up could be a real game changer. Impact on environment. If Titanoboa and Kronosaurus were suddenly around today, All sorts of animals would need to find new ways to stay safe. Prey animals might get better at hearing or grow defenses to survive. But with the way these giant predators would change the environment, some animals might be at risk of disappearing. So it would be vital to protect and save these creatures through conservation efforts. Dealing with these giant creatures would be a massive challenge for us humans. Where Titanoboa lives, we'd have to build super strong and safe structures to protect against these gigantic snakes. Coastal communities that depend on fishing must change ways and look for other fishing places. Ships and boats would need high-tech ways to spot and stay away from waters where Kronosaurus could be lurking. All in all, it would be a lot of work to make sure we remain safe and can keep living our lives. And that's not all. These significant changes in how animals live and what they eat can mess up plants and even lead to some animals losing their homes. It's like a domino effect. One change affects everything else in the ecosystem. So scientists would have to keep a close eye on what's happening and find ways to protect animals and plants from the significant impact of Titanoboa and Kronosaurus coming back. It's a pretty complex puzzle to solve. Economic value. Now imagine people coming from all over the world to see these ancient giants up close. It could be like a tourist attraction, but it would also bring money to the areas where Titanoboa and Kronosaurus live. People would pay to go on tours and learn about these creatures. It could help local communities by creating jobs and giving them a boost in their economy. So there's an upside to this significant change too. It's about more than just tourism and watching these creatures in action. They could also be helpful in other ways. For example, we can use the Titanoboa's skin for making things. It could be like a unique material for clothes or accessories. And Kronosaurus's teeth, being super strong and sharp, could be used in high-tech stuff or even scientific studies. Hypothetically, these creatures might have a remarkable role in different industries too. However, we need to be careful about how we use these creatures. We wouldn't want to harm their homes or take too much from them. So people must make rules and agreements to ensure we treat them and their habitats right. It's about finding a balance between making money and protecting the environment. In conclusion, if these giant ancient creatures returned, it would be a real challenge. We'd have to learn how to live with them, protect the environment, and learn from the past. It would be a big test for us to see if we can be responsible and take care of our planet. Speculation about extinct animals. Bringing back extinct animals has become the topic of interest lately, sparking scientific curiosity and even wild imagination. Thanks to some nifty advancements in genetic engineering and cloning, scientists are tossing around the idea of de-extinction. And guess what? One of the most remarkable candidates for this magic trick is the woolly mammoth, that big, hairy beast that used to roam the Earth way back during the Ice Age. Now, how are they planning to do this? Well, they're thinking of splicing mammoth genes with the Asian elephant, which is their closest living relative. It's like a gene remix, if you will. The result they're aiming for is a sort of new mammoth that might help with stuff like restoring ecosystems and maybe even tackling climate change. Although it's not all fun and games, there are plenty of complexities and ethical questions involved in this process. Additionally, another extinct species is making a comeback on the science scene. It's called the passenger pigeon, and these birds disappeared because people messed up their habitats and hunted them like there was no tomorrow. But guess what? Scientists are on a mission to bring them back to life. How? Well, they're like genetic detectives trying to piece together the pigeon's genetic puzzle. Once they've got the whole picture, they hope to put the passenger pigeon back where it belongs, out in the wild. Bringing back these extinct animals sounds cool, but there are some essential things to think about. First, consider whether it's a good idea for our environment. Putting these animals back into the wild could mess up how things work now, like who eats who and what plants grow where. Plus, we don't know for sure if these reborn animals will be happy and healthy in today's world. The entire concept of bringing back extinct animals is a reminder of how strong we humans are. We have the power to change the world, but we need to be careful. We have to think about science, what's right and wrong, and how to keep our planet healthy. If we ever bring back these animals, we have to do it in a good way that helps our Earth and all the creatures on it. We've taken this incredible journey from ancient times to the future. We've met Titanoboa and Kronosaurus, these fantastic ancient creatures that ruled the Earth. We've imagined what it would be like if they were around today and how they'd shake things up. And we've also looked into bringing back animals like the woolly mammoth and passenger pigeon, which is pretty mind-blowing, but it's not all fun and games. There are serious questions about how this could affect our planet and everything living on it. We've got to be careful and think about what's suitable for our world. So, as we keep exploring the past and dreaming about the future, let's remember how unique and precious our planet is. It's a reminder to take care of it and all the incredible life that calls it home. It's a fantastic place, and it's up to us to protect and cherish it. Thanks for watching. Until next time.